Netanyahu, on the other hand, has essentially just given a pretty rare interview to an Israeli television in which he sort of laid out his vision for what's going to happen next. There's this idea of going in and occupying the last stronghold in Gaza, Gaza City, the last Hamas stronghold in Gaza. And then he spoke about what would happen to the Gazans, saying he would, quote, allow them to leave. Take a listen.
Must Gaza remain a closed space? In all the other war zones, in the civil war in Syria, millions of people left. In Ukraine, millions left. In Afghanistan, millions left. And suddenly they determined that in Gaza, the civilians must be trapped? Give them the opportunity to leave. The most natural thing for all those saying that they care about the Palestinians and want to help the Palestinians would be for them to open their doors. Why are you coming and preaching to us? Open your doors. We'll let these people out, and we'll let them leave just like it's done in any other war zone.
Your reaction to that, Prince Turki?
Well, that would be rewarding the terrorism of Netanyahu. That is the irony in all of this. Netanyahu, the perpetrator of genocide, wants to justify it by driving out the people of Palestine. Not only genocidal actions, but also ethnic cleansing. Is this acceptable? The fact that it happened in Syria, in Ukraine, and in others doesn't mean that it is right for it to happen in Palestine. So he's proposing even more the hardship and difficulty on people regardless of who they are. He is a totally cuckoo person who only thinks of his own position, and he doesn't want to be put on trial and go to jail should he leave office.
But on the substance here, in terms of, we know, because we've tried to cover it, ever since Hamas took over in Gaza, there was a de facto barricade around Gaza, certainly from the Israeli side and even for a long time from the Egyptian side on Rafah. They couldn't get out. They were trapped in what many people called an open-air prison that was designed to contain Hamas. So that's one point. The other point is, who would take Gazans? Because Egypt hasn't wanted to open its doors. I don't think any of the neighboring countries want to. And I wonder, would Saudi Arabia, for instance? And now, apparently, we're hearing reports that Israelis are talking to South Sudan, a country anyway embroiled in a civil war and famine and stuff, to take them.
The Netanyahu government wants to wash its hands of its murderous activity in Palestine. So it wants to lay it on others. Why don't you ask the Palestinians themselves? Ask the people in Gaza. Let Mr. Netanyahu allow you to survey the people in Gaza and send people in to ask the Gazans what they want to do and then follow what they want to do. It is not up to Saudi Arabia or Egypt or Israel or the UK or America. It's the Gazan people who should be asked. So if Mr. Netanyahu is serious about that, he should stop the fighting, allow humanitarian to go back in, and see if the Gazans want to leave. That's the logical step for anybody who wants to pursue logical courses. But he just simply wants to throw his mistakes and his criminal activity and its consequences on the others.
Can I ask you a question? Because I've interviewed you many times, and I've never heard you be so unplugged. That's a pop version. In your accusations against Israeli government and the Israeli Prime Minister. You're a long-term diplomat. Why have you taken this step tonight to use all these words?
Well, it's not just tonight, Yani. And if you had been listening to what are my statements, and if you have read my articles, you would have seen me saying similar things in the past. But, I'm up to here with what I hear from not just Netanyahu, but those who support Netanyahu. When he is lauded as a hero back in the United States, and described as a savior of Israel and so on. It just boils my blood that somebody would think of a genocidal psychopath in those terms. And it is totally unacceptable to me. I can't do anything about that. I'm just a citizen who's retired for many years. I'm in my 80th year now, not much time left to live. But, I wish there would be an end to what is happening.
One of the prizes that Israel is aiming for is normalization with Saudi Arabia. How likely do you... I see you shaking your head.
Well, Ms. Amanpour, really, how can anybody expect Saudi Arabia to normalize with such a criminal or a genocidal maniac? There is no way that Saudi Arabia will normalize with Israel in the present state. Have peace. The kingdom was the one who presented the Arab Peace Initiative. It is there on the table. Just recently, as I mentioned before, the kingdom and France and other countries have put on the table a plan to end the fighting in Gaza and to go forward to an end to the hostilities between Israel and its neighbors. There is a whole history and backlog of Saudi action for peace. Normalization is not going to come before any of that. The Arab Peace Initiative is based on UN Security Council resolutions. International law should hold on these issues, not on simply abandoned and offering a prize here for a murderous psychopath like Mr. Netanyahu.
Prime Minister Netanyahu has also talked about, I think, for one of the rare times, a kind of future governance for Gaza. And he's talked about taking control and then handing it over to an Arab entity of some kind. I think that he is, obviously everybody dismisses the notion, and so did you, of any Hamas involvement in the future. But I think he's also dismissed the notion of the PA, even a reformed PA, Palestinian Authority, doing that. What kind of an entity do you think, how do you think the day after should look? Once the things that you've said, like the end of the war, etc.
Just look at the proposal put forward by France and Saudi Arabia. There is a specific program to establish a governing authority in Gaza that will have the PA operating to provide all of the services of a government and a return to civil life and reconstruction and giving people hope for the future. It is all there in the Saudi-French plan. We don't need to reinvent the wheel, as it were. The wheel has been invented for reaching peace in Palestine with the Arab Peace Initiative and now with the ending of the Gaza conflict through the French-Saudi plan. So I don't see any problem in implementing those ideas. I don't have any ideas because I'm not in government and I am not privy to what is and what can and cannot be done. But I read what I see in the press and I hear the statements of leaders like Monsieur Macron and King Salman and Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman and see that they are serious about having a concrete day after, as it were. So put it in practice. And instead of going for idea, look, Mr. Netanyahu now is talking about some kind of biblical image of Israel, and he's not hiding it. And he's even showing it on maps. That would be from the river to the river, from the Nile to the Euphrates. So which is he going to pursue? This one that you propose, or is he going to go for occupying Saudi and Syrian and Lebanese and Iraqi territory along with Palestine and Egypt? So he's that kind of person.